those days, all the kids, you just wanted to go into town on a Saturday, and then we realised that you could go to the barn, as it was called then, later on, Images on Glass, and they had Teeny Boppers disco, for want of a better word, although we didn't view it like that at the time. We thought we were quite cool going, and so yeah, we'd all go along there and have a whale of a time. It was great fun. And then a bit later on, we'd go to places like Tramps, then in Bank Street, or particularly the St John's crowd. There was Tanya's in St John's, and then I don't want to lose track of the years really. Then the Pavilion opened up, which later became Tramps.
It's amazing how, even with other pictures of old Worcester and different areas as well, you see, it's amazing how your perception of that is slightly different to everybody else's. And it's only when you start talking to people that you find that middle ground, that maybe you were partially right, they were partially right, because we all put a bit of glamour on there and things like that, and you know, it's amazing.
I say I've noticed so many changes over the years and the way things have gone, and looking back at some of the things I'm sure we did in those days would not be allowed to be done nowadays. And I think probably one of my favourite stories is that we restored a rocking horse from a school in St John's, St Clement's. And we were taking it down from the main museum in Foregate Street to our branch museum in Friar Street, Tudor House. And we got down New Street and we were pushing this thing on a handcart thing. There was 4 of us. And a drunk came out of the pub, took one look at it. He says, "That's the one I backed yesterday," and walked back into the pub. And things like that I'll never ever forget. They were really great.
That was one of the reasons another reason to come to Worcester, because we didn't have a cinema back then. It was shut down in Droitwich, and so we used to come into Worcester a lot. I mean, I remember going to the Scala, Paint Your Wagon, and the Odeon for various Saturday morning films, and what was the Goalmont over the road, Herbie Goes Bananas, and things like that. And they used to have the Beetle car upstairs to advertise the film, yeah.
When I was 8, we had real bad snow. You couldn't get out, you couldn't do anything. But when it stopped snowing, everybody helped then. That was community. They shoveled all the snow to the edge of the pavement so that we could go to school. Get rid of us really. But it was as high as me, and it was like the Cresta Run. I didn't think that then. I know what a Cresta Run is now. And you couldn't see over the top. You just, it went to school, the path, so you went. And then when it melted, it flooded in 1947. And it flooded every year. And I lived in Portland Street, which backs onto the houses that are on the riverbank. It used to flood, and we'd all have a house that designated to us that we helped to move furniture upstairs. And they may not have actually lived upstairs, they'd be paddling in 2 inches of water, but they'd stay downstairs. But 47, it was really, really high. So they all had, everything had to go upstairs. We'd even lifted a piano up the one lady's stairs. It stayed there, mind you, it didn't come down again.
Goalmont Theatre was a cinema, and they used to stage shows. In 1963, the Beatles came there twice. Once with Roy Orbison and once with Jerry and the Pacemakers? But when they appeared with Roy Orbison, you could actually tell who the real star was. It wasn't the Beatles.
The Huntingdon Hall, when I first started there, because there was no big concert hall in Worcester, most of the concerts there were classical, and that is really my sort of forte more than your sort of pop rock stuff. The acoustics are so good in Huntingdon Hall. Everybody likes performing there. There's a lovely atmosphere because everybody can hear well. It sort of seats 350 people, but a good sort of, say, 100 of those are just listening seats, because obviously it was built as a church rather than as a concert hall.